Since its inception, the film industry has defined very rigid gender roles for women. Early Hollywood heroines played either virgin or vamp, and had little agency or individuality. But by the 1930s, some actresses had become famous movie stars, and they used their power as seat sellers to push for stronger, more unique roles. This began the history of female masculinity in film. This also became the first cliché of unconventional female image. Only actresses considered glamorous beauty queens could cross-dress or act masculine on screen. To this day, actresses like Charlize Theron or Hilary Swank portray masculine characters in films like Monster, Million Dollar Baby, and Boys Don't Cry, and show up traditionally feminine on the red carpet. The masculine identity of the role is absent from real-life Hollywood, and is thus made to seem unnatural and constructed.
So you're a boy? Now what?
Though images of female masculinity have appeared throughout film history, these portrayals are far from perfect. In fact, whenever such an image appears, it is carefully deconstructed by a system of narrative clichés until it is non-threatening to existing norms.
I won't be a girl. I won't be weak and I won't be silly. I'll be a boy and rough and hard. I won't care what I do.
What are you doing? Stop that!
Don't worry, I'm ready for anything.
My house is patronized.
To make a female masculine image seem constructed, often the first step is to literally show its construction. Many movies with such characters show scenes of their heroines dressing or undressing, transforming from feminine to masculine. We see the character undressed, feminine, vulnerable, and exposed to the male gaze of the camera. Then we watch her methodically put her masculine image together with masculine clothing. This trope both demystifies the image and weakens it, making it seem more like a costume than an identity. It implies that the apparent power or strength of the masculine presentation comes from fear and vulnerability, and in their undressed state, these heroines often act out and reinforce female stereotypes.
Just because I look like a man doesn't mean I have to smell like one.
A character's masculine image is also often balanced by an overtly feminine narrative. Lesbianism is the most obvious threatening aspect of gender-bending presentation, so homosexual overtones are discounted in mainstream film. In its book form, Fried Green Tomatoes centered around a lesbian relationship, but the film version is de-gayed. Its main characters are just good friends. Other films may suggest lesbianism to titillate the audience or for comedic effect, but the suggestion never becomes real. In this film, a man seduces a lesbian by dressing up as a woman for a costume party. When they kiss, it is heterosexual. In Bend It Like Beckham, there is an entire mistaken identity subplot about lesbianism.
Get your lesbian feet out of my shoes!
But, in reality, both girls are in love with the same man.
You bitch!
Most films with masculine female characters avoid dealing with lesbian sexuality by calling attention to their hyper-heterosexuality. Many such heroines make it a point to get the guy at the end.
You make me feel. You make me feel like a natural woman. You make me feel. You make me feel. You make me feel like a natural woman. You make me feel.
Tomboyism is an interesting exception to the mainstream rules about gender presentation. This kind of character had its roots in Civil War America, when many girls and young women took on formerly male responsibilities while their husbands, fathers, and brothers fought. After the war was over, stories about young girls acting like boys became hugely popular. The most important and prominent of these early tomboy figures was Jo March of Louisa May Alcott's Little Women. The tomboy has persisted as a cultural phenomenon throughout the 20th century, in literature and film alike. It is clear that it is acceptable for girls to act like boys as long as they are children.
You look real nice in that ribbon. First off, I didn't know, was she a boy or a girl?
I'm a girl.
Well, it makes all the difference.
10-year-old Tatum O'Neal even wore a tux to the Oscars instead of a dress when she won Best Supporting Actress for her role in Paper Moon. Youth excuses this kind of nonconformity, but tomboyism is not seen as a lifelong identity. As girls reach puberty, they are put through the process of tomboy taming and made to abide by adult gender standards, and adult women who act tomboyish are often portrayed as naive or childish. The use of comedy to lessen the impact of female masculinity is well established. Girls dressed in boys' clothing, and vice versa, are seen as so innately odd that cross-dressing is often used for comedic effect.
Hey, what's up? I'm Sebastian.
The emphasis is placed on how unnatural the character looks in their masculine clothes and persona.
No hakalugi. I'm so proud!
Okay, how about this?
Excuse me, where do I sign in? I see you have a sword. I have one too. They're very manly and tough.
And on how they fall short when they interact with real men.
Hey! Hey! What up? You must be my roommates.
What's your name?
Sebastian Hastings.
Duke Orsino. Okay.
Sorry.
Sorry you had to see that, but you know how it is when you get those, manly urges, and you just gotta kill something. Fix things, cook outdoors.
What's your name?
The question remains, are these images positive or negative? Obviously, it depends on the film and the character. But do we give these films credit for, unlike so many popular movies, at least giving some visibility to gender nonconformity? Or do we criticize them for making a show of masculine women without giving them dignity of characterization? Too often the masculinity is a costume, and the characters themselves are just more empty, typical Hollywood women. Realistic nonconforming characters are still few and far between.
The Williams Institute at UCLA outlawed public policy did a study a couple of years ago, which shows that at a minimum 10% of the entire United States population is gender nonconforming to the extent that they would be actually harassed or called out by someone objecting to the way they present themselves.
And don't those people deserve real representation on the silver screen?
I was a young James Dean with the way with the ladies, all the real boys in their black jeans called me crazy.